We are recording. All right. Hi, this is Jen.
Hi, Trina. I'm Renee.
And we got Trina Martin on
Hi.
the line. Hello.
Hello.
And it's telling me that it's recording. Okay, good. So, welcome to this episode of Marriage Plus Business, where we roped one of my girlfriends into being on here, even though she's happily divorced.
Very happily divorced.
And the cool thing is that, Trina had the question, do I have to be married to be on this program? I'm like, no.
That's a good question.
But you have been married, right? And you are in business for yourself. So maybe you actually have words of wisdom to share. Right? Because sometimes
I won't say what I was thinking.
So go ahead, honey, and tell us about you and where you're from and where you are right this moment and what you're doing. And that way the audience can get to know the fabulous Trina Martin.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you, Jen. I'm Trina Martin, as you said. I am originally from Chicago, but I live in Houston. I have my own business. I am a speaker and a consultant. I work with businesses that hire veterans, and I help them bridge the gap between the veterans who they've promoted into leadership position and the veteran to understand the corporate environment. I am a naval officer. I have 30 years of service in.
Yes,
I spent 20 years in the IT industry as a computer programmer, and that's my passion, to lead.
So pretty much what we do on this show is we just kind of like talk and have some fun. It lasts for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and we just kind of shoot breeze and just kind of have a good time talking about like our week, what projects we're working on, and how what we're doing in our lives have to do with our business and our marriage or lack thereof, or the happily being divorced and two beautiful children as a product of that wonderful marriage. So, Renee, how was your week?
So it's Tuesday, right? So how
It's
was
Monday.
the last? Is it Monday?
It's Monday. It's only Monday.
Okay.
I know it feels like Tuesday.
Our week has been good. I mean,
It does.
we spent the weekend working.
Yeah.
We do that a lot.
We work a lot.
We work a lot from home. We were able to go out on Saturday to hang out with some
we
friends / clients.
We had dinner with a client,
and it was good to get out. We were able to walk to dinner here in town where we live in Monterey.
Yeah.
You can walk down.
Wow, nice.
Walks down by the water.
Cannery Row, baby.
And have a great time with friends, and and then when we're done, come back and do more work.
Right.
But it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I have some. I'm an artist, in case those who do not know, and I do graphic design work as well as illustration work. So I've been busy balancing both aspects, wearing two hats, which I just saw something on Instagram that design and art are two different things, but they're really fascinating. And I've heard it before, but that was a really fascinating. So, and that's true, because I find myself working as an artist, because as a designer, the goal is to help the client and see what it is and find out what they need.
Right.
Whereas an artist, I'm fighting as hard as I can to stick my
I'm going to do what I want.
Right. So it's been a balance of the two. Working, doing the projects I've been working on. So, we love it. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, just out of curiosity, how does the audio?
The audio is pretty good. It cuts in and out, but it could be my hotel Wi-Fi.
Oh, and it could be us too. I mean, you just never know. Sometimes we have unstable connections. So editing, that's where editing comes in. Yay. Well, cool. Okay. So Trina, how was your week? What did you do? Anything exciting over the weekend or getting ready for this trip?
What did I do? I got ready for this trip. Oh, I worked as well, because as you know, that's what I'm doing, is working my business. But I did take in a lot of Netflix.
Oh, nice.
What'd you watch?
And actually, I have to correct. It's not Netflix. It's Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
And it's called Hunters.
Hunters.
So have you guys saw that? with Al Pacino.
No.
No. Oh, anything with Al Pacino's in it is good, right?
How does that work? Because I have Amazon Prime and I've not yet tapped into that as far as movies. Is it
You
on?
should be able to. Well, you should be able to view the movies for free. Now, they have certain movies that are Prime that you can view for free because of your membership.
Yeah.
Some you do have to pay to watch or not to rent, but this particular series is free. So it's free for Prime members.
Cool.
But it's very good, very interesting. I don't want to spoil it, so just check it out.
Okay.
It's with Al Pacino.
Okay, cool.
For sure, Al Pacino is it's a top name.
Right, that's a legend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of anything else that I did. Well, actually, all of last week was around our very, very dear friend who we call Daddy Ramon, and he had back surgery last Monday. So a week ago, he had back surgery. He's 88 years old, but he's a very spry and youthful 88. So he did great in the surgery and in the recovery. He's in a rehab facility, and I think we bring him home tomorrow. Yeah.
That sounds about right. It's Tuesday.
But he's like a father to us, and so we've been keeping close eye on him and making sure he feels loved. And, but he's so friendly with everybody. Like he's got a string of visitors. He doesn't meet us there all the time. He's like got like the party going on in his hotel, his hospital room. Right? That's always been Ramon.
Oh.
So,
that's special.
It is. It's sweet. It's sweet when you can have your real parents, but then also to have friends that are like family. And isn't it wonderful how we are very fortunate in our world to be able to have these wonderful close relationships. He lives only a block and a half away from us, and so again, he's a very healthy 88. But whenever he needs to go to the hospital, he calls us, and so we're there with him. And he was in the Air Force for many, many years, and lived in Europe. Married a Belgian woman, had 2 sons who still live in Belgium. So his kids are, in my parents are in Florida, and so we've all adopted each other as our surrogate family. So it's sweet. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty much our week. So, all right. So you do a lot of really great work for veterans, and wow, what a long, beautiful career in the military. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I've said this to you before personally, but I'm going to say it publicly. Thank you for your service. I know that being in the Navy is a tough branch to be in, especially when you're deployed for long periods of time. There's a lot going on, and especially as a surgeon of your beautiful stature and being female, and you've had a tough row to hoe. And let me tell you how proud I am of you, of like what you've been able to accomplish. Thank you for doing that. And as citizens, we are going to promise to take care of you and your health care for the rest of your life.
Well, I'm going to need that.
That's what Ramon's enjoying, right? Thank God for TRICARE. It covers everything. You guys are so lucky.
Exactly.
Yeah. And how fortunate, right? It's so interesting, right? With private work, private industry, corporate, being in the public sector, being in the military, like we all have our pluses and our minuses, don't we? Like as entrepreneurs and self-employeds, we have freedom. We can travel anywhere we want. We can work from Maui. We can work from Florida. We can work from wherever we are, but we don't have a pension. We have to go make that of our own, right? But we have freedom, right? Military, you have no freedom, right? Well, you do, but you don't.
Right.
It's like a different, it's not like you're tied to the ship, right? But you have to ask for permission to go and do it. And like a business owner that has a store, a brick and mortar location, they can't just cruise off like Renee and I keep working from home, but yet, everybody has their benefits. And baby, you've got TRICARE, you lucky duck. Can I marry you so I can have some of your insurance when I get old?
My kids get it all. I just don't tell them so that they don't kill me off.
Makes sense. makes sense.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. I hope that tomorrow is a Super Tuesday, and there's elections coming up, and that's going to be a really big day. And there's a lot of discussion about universal health care, and it's so interesting because when you look at it historically, President Roosevelt in the 1940s was trying to get something like that going, and here we are in 2020, 80 years later ish. Trying to get that going. So knock on wood, or knock on wood, here, I'll put it on here, put it on my desk, knock on wood that by the time Renee and I need it, we're going to be fine. We're paying for our health insurance now, obviously, back in the day, I used to be a health insurance agent, life agent. So I sold myself my own policy, but it shifted so much that I'm signing up with a new policy every year, and it's a little on the frustrating side. So either here nor there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, being the successful, amazing woman that you are, and happily divorced, what advice do you have for business owners who are married and they're going through the ups and downs and challenges of business?
Ooh.
What not?
Probably to get some support from their partner, maybe share with them what they're doing so that they can have that support to continue on, because you're going to need it. And there's a fine line and balance between the business and trying to make that work. And then you're also trying to make your marriage work and your relationship and your home environment and things like that. So they all have to cohabitate together, and hopefully in harmony. So you're going to need as much support as possible. So try to share with your partner what you're doing, and hopefully you can get that support and bring them into the fold. They may not be able to work the business with you, but at least they'll understand, and that won't cause any additional stress.
Good advice. So you're working with veterans a lot, and if I understand this right, you're trying to get them to transition from military to corporate world.
Well, I'm actually working with the corporations that hire them. So military veterans, of course, they are hired because of the skill sets that they have. We have skill sets that are, value added to any organization. And what I found is that a lot of those veterans, they get promoted to leadership positions, and they kind of struggle with the corporate environment because leadership in the military is different than leadership in corporate. So I help those companies, whether they're HR execs or CEOs, help them bridge that gap with their employees so that their employees can be successful as a leader in their environment, and so that they understand the veterans.
Nice. So you're helping create a warm and welcoming environment for the veterans, and you're also training the veterans on how to navigate this new environment. Wow,
yes.
That's cool. How does that take a toll on their marriages? Right? That's got to be an interesting trend.
Well, being in the military, it's a stressor all by itself. Right. So it's something that's totally different, and unless you have been in the military, it's kind of hard to explain and hard for someone else to understand. I've tried to explain this to people, and people go, "Oh, well, that's what you signed up for, whatever." But it's not that simple.
No.
Because I missed 2 years of my kid's life by being deployed, and then I miss birthdays, I miss Mother's Days, I miss all of these things that most people take for granted, and not because I choose to miss them, but because I'm defending our country. So it's a different stressor. Oh, thank you for your support. So it's a different stressor, and that goes along with the family as well. So again, that's where that support comes in at, just having a great support system. Even though my kids are teenagers, I always have the mommy guilt when I leave them, because it's just that thing. And I don't know whether they fully understand that I'm an officer in the Navy and this is what I do, or is or I don't know, because they really don't talk about it. And I've been this ever since they've been alive, so they don't know anything different.
Right.
But it's interesting, because even though sometimes I ask them, they go, yeah, we know that's what you do, and it's like they kind of accepted it and it's a norm for them. But I don't know if they really understand the extent of it.
And it's interesting. They're in their own world because they're kids. They just don't have the experience. And someday when they're our age, they'll be like, oh, I understand what mom went through. But it's kind of interesting. In fact, what was it? The last time we were in Florida visiting my family at Christmas, we interviewed my mom because my parents had an electrical contracting business together, and I was age 11 when they bought it, and then I was gone from the house by age 21 because I was, going off to school at Florida State University. And my mom shared that those first 10 years of owning their business together was super stressful and like,
Yep.
oh my gosh. And I was like, I was focusing on the boy I was liking at the time or whatever my teenage view was of that time. And now as a 49-year-old, I'm like, oh yeah, ouch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're feeling that, right? Because your parents probably were going through how we're gonna make it, if we're gonna bring in income and things, just that roller coaster, the things that we know now, with having businesses that you go through, whereas you didn't know the extent of that because you weren't in that. They didn't share that with you. And that's a parent's job. They protect their children, right? So it wasn't for you to know.
Right. But then also too is interesting. It's like, how we as adults, whether it's because Renee and I don't have kids, so I can't say when you talk to your kids because we had a fur baby. She's a cat running around here somewhere. But I have young people in our life. We've got our niece, and we have the young dancers that we hang out with that are you know still impressionable. And it's always sweet to share advice, but it's true. It's like they're not really gonna understand it until they go through it. Just as if I grew up near Navy bases my entire life. NAS Jack, Mayport, Monterey here, graduate school. Like, I'm next to the military all the time, but I am not. I've always been a civilian. I've always admired it. You're right. Like, there's a lot that I'm like, huh? You have a curfew at Defense Language Institute at 9 o'clock? What? How is that possible?
Yeah.
You're in your 20s, right? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I heard they had a curfew and they had to leave our dance classes and be back on base by 9, I was like, huh?
Isn't there also something where like the females had to go in earlier?
Yeah, so
too?
well, no. She had to go through a certain door and check in. Not that I'm disrespecting it. I'm just so shocked because I am an independent woman and I am very, I am woman, hear me roar, and get out of my way. I'm going to get something done. And so yeah, it was a guy and a girl. They were both Army, and they were both studying. They're at the Defense Language Institute, which is the Army Presidio, which is only a block away from our house here in Monterey. And he could go through any door, the back door or whatever, but because she was female and for safety purposes, she had to check in at the front door. And I was like, what? Like,
and you know what? And it seems crazy, but it's done for safety.
No,
I
but it's just unfortunate that we have to worry about that, right? But we do have to worry about that, unfortunately. Yeah, little protocols. I think it would drive me nuts, but I honor it and I respect it. There's that freedom I was talking about, right? I can blow things off.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. So, Renee, this is your first time getting to know Trina. So, what kind of questions do you want to know from this one? Just don't ask anything confidential.
I won't. Not knowingly. So what does your business have a name? What is the name of your business today?
Well, my business is just my name, but actually for billing purposes, it's Trina L. Martin International.
Oh, okay. Got it. And you travel a lot for work at this point?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. What is the range of which that you travel? Is it just, is it international? I'm assuming truly, is it, or is it just statesides or?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, she just was in Italy.
International. Yeah.
Oh,
Which,
wow.
yeah. Yes, I was.
How was
Yes,
that?
I
How
was.
recently was it?
Well, she was a little sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a story behind that. Yeah. So that was just 2 weeks ago. Well, actually, I've been back 2 weeks. And yeah, it was not what I would have wanted for an Italian trip. So I got on the plane. I left Houston, supposed to be going from Houston to Germany, then Germany to Italy. Well, mid-flight, leaving Houston, a passenger got sick. So we diverted and I ended up going to Iceland. So I ended up being in Iceland for the day, which I was like, oh, cool. I've never been to Iceland. This is great.
Yeah.
Wow.
But as soon as I got off the plane, my health started to decline.
Oh, no.
And
Were you not dressed appropriately? Or
yes.
Oh, too cold?
No, it wasn't. It just, no, it wasn't that. I think it was just the germs on the plane. It's like the petri dish, and I
Right.
got off, my
Yeah.
health started to decline. I tried to fight it and self-medicate. By the time I made it to Italy, I was barely walking.
Oh.
So for the whole entire time I was in Italy, the first week in particular, I was fighting fever, just, it was like the flu times 100. And of course, the first thing in my mind was, do I have the coronavirus?
Right.
And I went to the doctor and they tested and no. And plus the flu, as we know from watching the TV, is more deadly than the coronavirus. But it was pretty scary. And a couple times I actually was almost well enough where I said, I'd be darned if I'm going to sit in a hotel room and sweat. So I'm going to go out and see some things. But yeah, it was not my favorite Italy trip at all.
Oh no, that's horrible. Hopefully you get to do a redo in the relatively near future. Yeah, right?
I'm planning on it.
Yeah. And are you doing a lot of speaking when you're going out and doing these international things?
Yes, I'm trying to do more. Always trying to do more because that's what I do. I speak and I love it, and I love traveling internationally. So for all you people out there, if you want me to come to your country and speak, I'm available.
Yay! What kind of things do you talk about? Like if you had like 3 main topics that you could just totally riff off of, what are the types of things that you talk about?
Well, I have 2. I have leadership and I have personal development. So those are my 2 subject matter expert topics that I speak on.
That is so cool. So, like for example, if you were, there's so many questions I have, but like if you were to like give like little tidbits of advice about leadership or personal development, what kind of tidbits do you tend to gravitate toward?
Okay, so for example, I sent out a weekly newsletter to my email list, and the last few weeks, well, 6-7 weeks, I've been going through my 7 C's of leadership, and this week was on communication, and not what we think, because we all know communication comes in all kind of forms. You have nonverbal, you have verbal, we all know that. But my communication for leadership is, are you teaching your people the rules of the game?
Like
Which
etiquette.
just, you get a new employee, are you telling them what they need to know to be successful? Are you actually giving them the information, or are you holding things back? And I call it, my favorite term to use is stump to chump, right? Because a lot of people they'll ask you a question and they know you don't have the answer to it, but they do it on purpose just to see you floundering or to make you look like an idiot.
Not to
That's what I call
support
stump
you,
the chump.
not to support you and lift you up.
Right. Right. And a leader wouldn't do that to their people. The leader would give their people the playbook and say, okay, here are the rules to the game. This is what you need to know to succeed. This is what you need to know to win. Because that not only sets your employee up, you know, for success, it makes you look good as a leader. And so many times we have, and there's a difference between leadership and management, but so many times we have these people in positions of authority that they forget that. They're too busy worrying about climbing the ladder themselves, or they think that their employee is supposed to just somehow know this and breathe this. And communication with leadership, like I said, you have to tell people the rules of the game. You have to tell them what they expect of you. What do they need to do to win? So that's valuable, along with all the other things that we know communication to be.
Oh, that is a good point. That is a really good point. Now, with personal development, there's a huge movement in personal development. We see that. We know each other through Lisa Nichols and Susie Carter, the tribe there, and making yourself better and striving and getting your financial house in order and putting all these things in place to where you can have a bolder, brighter future, etc. Do you find that people willingly embrace personal development, or do they feel that's kind of hokey and they shy away from it?
You know, it all depends. It depends on, I guess, the person, because people like you and I, we're investing in our personal development, right?
Right.
That's what we're doing in these programs that we're in. A lot of times people, they don't take it that seriously. They think, what, I have a job or whatever, no big thing. And if they knew,
I'm fine.
Right. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. Yeah. And if they knew what we knew as far as what we've invested in our programs,
right,
they would not do it. They would be like, well, I can just watch YouTube and find all of this out.
Right.
and you and I both know that you can't. Well, you probably could, but you wouldn't have anything that's concise and cohesive, and it probably will take you X number of years to find out what we're learning in a year.
Yes.
So it depends on the person and their mentality. If they're really people who are goal oriented and they're striving and they want to do better, then they'll invest in that. And it's funny you asked that, because I actually wrote a book, my first book, From a Mess to Amazing, which is about personal development.
I was going to show it, but of
yes,
course, it's in my bedroom. But it's a beautiful book.
Yes. So, and it talks about my journey. So I talk about my personal development journey, and not only is personal development about learning and going to classes, it's about you knowing you as a person and improving yourself and knowing who you are. So personal development encompasses a big wide range of things. And I think a lot of times people they think personal development, that's kind of hokey. Well, it's not. if you really want to better yourself, it comes from within first, because we all know that you can't be successful at a business or whatever if you're totally messed up in your mindset. It just doesn't happen.
Right. Excellent point. Excellent point. And it's funny. The reason why I bring that up is in January we had our Rockstar Summit, and we do a lot of workshops that are team building. And I bill it as something that's fun and networking and team building, because if I said it's personal development, people will be like, right? I got to call it something else. And also, too, it's interesting how you were talking about communication is one of the things that you were talking about in your newsletter, and you discuss it in your leadership training. My book, What Dancing Taught Me About Running a Successful Business, over the weekend, one of the things that we were doing in our work that we listed that we were focusing on was we were creating really fun video modules where Renee and I dance and we talk about that particular topic, and one of them was communication. And how do we communicate on the dance floor? And then how does one communicate in the workplace, and what are the similarities between dancing and working? So yeah, communication is a huge, huge thing because we all as human beings rely on it. And that personal development aspect of it, we become better human beings when we are mindful and we strive to not only improve ourselves, but improve our situation and improve the lives of those that we touch. I mean, it really is a ripple effect, isn't it? When we focus on personal
Yes.
development. And another thing that like I'm noticing, and this is all good because like there's so many different avenues to finding a better place, right? Some people will go to Bible study and they are working on their personal development through Bible study. And others might be working on personal development through dancing and learning how to dance with people. And other people like you and me, we might work on our personal development by going to a speak and write conference or like a personal development retreat. And then other people might work on it through therapy or a combination of
Right.
all of the above, right? So
Yes.
we're all working to improve ourselves, and whether it's to be more godly or be more spiritual or just be a higher version of ourselves, being the best that we can be, it's kind of cool. And communication is how we do it because we are not islands, right? We are definitely part of a tribe. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so
Yes.
cool. That's so cool. We're running in the same we're running in the same race, darling. That's why we're both communicators.
Yes.
Yeah. And Renee
Exactly.
communicates through his art, and he's been doing a lot of
Yes.
really good stuff lately. Tell her what you've been doing with your art and your videos and talking.
So this year, 2020, I started. I've always been recording myself drawing, or at least like my hands. You know, this year I'm making an effort to actually get behind or in front of the camera,
As opposed to just behind
which
it.
Oh.
right. So it's a whole like different aspect, a whole different world. Even me just talking and speaking over my videos, chiming in about
Wow.
what it is I'm doing, why I'm doing it,
This particular technique.
or just relating some kind of anecdote with regards to some aspect of my life as it regards pertains to art or something that I heard or saw that has maybe changed my direction with my art. So it all comes down, I think, to me being more putting myself more out there in ways that allows me to connect with people that get to hear me. Because as an artist, like you're always caught up in like, well, my art should speak for itself, and the art should speak for itself, but it's not necessarily going to speak for me. So if I get to speak about myself, people get to understand where I'm coming from or what I do, then I think that's like a plus, and that's like a good way to also maybe get in touch with people who are similar to myself, find my tribe. But also, you never know who you might pick up as someone who could be a client, someone who might be a patron, someone who's like always wanted to do that. Wow, this thing is doing exactly what I do. So I think it all starts with me. And it's been like a year of me just settling into this self-employed business owner role, and then moving to the next stage as part of a natural evolution or progress. I never feel like I'm trying to force myself to do it. Although I understand the actual concept of putting yourself in uncomfortable or making going past your comfort zone,
Yeah. Stretching the
stretching
boundaries.
to get
Yeah.
something different. So this year has been a lot of doing that in my own way, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm still feeling that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is that.
Great. So do you like it?
What was that?
I'm sorry. So Renee, do you like being in front of the camera?
That's a good question. So far this year, well, actually, let me back up because my wife and I also have a dance business. We teach West Coast swing, And we started out helping the gentleman who started the original business in this area by doing marketing. So Jen's a writer, she's a marketer, I'm a graphic designer, so he needed, marketing materials. So we did that, and then we bought the business. And then he told us, well, the two of you need to hire these teachers. And we're like, okay, that's great. But what you need to do as another aspect of your business is not rely on those teachers solely, but learn how to teach yourselves and put yourself out there. So I've been in that role for the better part of almost
10
10
years.
years.
Mm-hmm.
And I never think about
He
it.
did not want to teach, by the way. He's like, And I was like, you have to support all these expensive teachers all the time.
Yeah, I would say I don't look for it, but like once I'm in it, I just start doing it and I don't think about it.
Mhm.
So the idea of like, well, like it, I don't not like it. But it is fun when I can get into aspects that make it fun for me, like just sharing what I know.
Yeah.
And I think when I can get into zones where I'm not repeating what I've heard, because there's a lot of that, right? Mentors and teachers, it's natural.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of take what you've heard. That's part of the natural process. I think it's cool when I can actually genuinely have my own input and realize, oh wow, that really is, and whatever my personality
Mhm.
is now blending with what I've heard before. And I think that's just the way it naturally works. You have your influences, and all of a sudden you become a lot more comfortable, and then you actually start believing what you're saying. That's all the difference, right?
And like, you start believing what you're saying. This stuff's real.
Like, oh, I sound good. I believe that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So now, if I recall, your kids are seeking out what they want to be when they grow up. What have they told you what it is that they want to do?
Well, I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. My daughter is the oldest, so she is like Renee. She's an artist, so she draws very, very well. And actually, I'm taking them to Europe this summer because I am trying to convince her to go to college overseas. So, like Italy or Germany, somewhere where she could really get that artist experience and just really learn the culture and see real art and all of that. But she loves art. Ever since she's been able to hold a pencil, she's been
That's
drawing.
great.
Yeah, my son, on the other hand, he's into Xbox, and I've been saying, well, since you love gaming, why don't you be a programmer and create the games? And he's kind of like, whatever. So right now, he's just playing the
Maybe
games.
he'll do esports. Isn't that a thing
Well, tell her what you're doing with the gaming company we're working with.
for the gaming company? Oh, well,
This is cool.
I'm
Tell your
doing
son
art.
this.
I'm doing artwork. I mean, I am not a computer guy either. I mean, I know how to use the gear that I use, and I can figure out anything I need to incorporate in my workflow. But as far as someone who like sees and understands code, I think that's a whole different beast altogether. Someone who just can get into that. But for me, I'm fortunate enough through Jen's connection with someone she worked with, who is now opening up starting his own VR gaming company locally here in Monterey.
Mm-hmm.
They're employing us, or at least we're doing a lot of sweat equity to start becoming part of this culture. And it's another aspect of my art being able to take. And if you are artistic and you are somewhat capable of understanding how that world works, you can tie your work into that or bring something to the table.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
he's doing
art
fun for the video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
I think what it is just another way for me to, of course, contribute, but also become brought into this culture. Because for gaming, for me, I haven't done it probably since like my mid-20s. And then, after that, I'm like, well, I'm moving on to other things. But I wouldn't say I'm a gamer. I played Angry Birds on my phone before to kill time. But I'm not a hardcore gamer. But I definitely know that in this day and age, a lot of things are all things shiny, bright, and digital is what captures the eye. So that's the era we're living in, and that's the technology that is just that everyone has grown up with, at least within the past 10 years, 15 years, easily. We all remember rotary phones, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Remember bunny
With the
ears
long
on the TV?
cord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bunny
Yeah.
ears and the extra aluminum foil to
The
like
foil.
get that better.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. 13 channels. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now what we're doing.
You had 13?
Right? Yeah. Good point. Free cable. Yeah. That's so funny. And then when MTV came out and it was like the big thing, oh my
That
gosh.
was cutting edge.
Yes.
I don't know if they're still
So
around.
cutting edge.
Yeah.
I think they are. Isn't that funny? I haven't had a television since 1992, so I don't know what's still around. But I have plenty of
You
internet.
don't have a TV?
Nope.
We don't.
Nope. There's
Oh, that's nice.
well, there are a few ways that we're able to do what we do. We don't have children and we don't have a TV. So because of those two things gone from our household, we can accomplish a lot. However,
That's smart.
as a marketing professional who lives on social media, the computer,
Computer is the new TV.
this has become my new
Yeah.
TV, right?
Yeah.
So it's just exchanged one
But you
for
do
the other.
read a lot too.
Oh, I read a
Jen
lot.
reads a ton. She's an awesome reader.
Okay.
Always a
Consumer
student.
of textbooks, like actual
Yes.
print,
Business
which is
books.
awesome.
Yeah, I just you know how it is. Personal development, trying to get better, trying to be smarter, faster. Especially when I'm teaching marketing, I have to be up on all of the new trends as far as what's going on. And
Yes.
I'm an SEO expert and a social media marketing expert, and this stuff is changing so fast, such a rapid pace. And if I don't study it, I am toast because it's going to fly by me. The second I say that I know everything, I'm dead in the water.
Yep.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Well, so what, gosh, I know I need to wrap it up, but I have so many questions, but pretty much, if we were on a, you want to say something to the world and you want to get things off your chest and have people remember you and like ask you a question, whatever you're in the mood for, what do you feel like saying as your wind up?
Oh, well, you can contact me. My website is trinamartin.com. And if you're a business that has veteran employees and you need some help with them, contact me at Next Level at trinamartin.com and get my book, From a Mess to Amazing, 7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve.
Yay. Yay. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Renee, do you have a parting thought?
Parting thought. Well, I think I'm just going to touch upon what Trina asked about earlier, if I was comfortable being in front of the camera. I think it's important to realize, kind of like in this day and age, it's so important because there's so much noise online, and I'm coming from a social media online perspective, to help at least get your message out.
Yeah.
We should consider putting ourselves out there and saying and doing and creating what it is you enjoy, because I think the more that we can put into the world that we enjoy 100%, that's a good thing.
Right.
So speak what you have to say, get it out there. Don't regret not having done that when you could have, especially in this day and age. So
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And following up with that, I saw something today about how there's some company in Japan that developed a dreaming bed, and the title was something like "You never have to get back to reality. Play games from your bed." And it's like this really high tech, single twin size bed that has everything, so you never have to leave your room. What's funny is if we continue to turn to our devices to have that connection, then video really is going to be that equivalent of sitting on somebody's front porch and sharing a glass of tea. You know what I mean? Well, it's weird to us, but it's not weird to other people, right? I mean, it's evolving, and it's going to be an interesting time. But no, I think we're in an amazing time in humankind history. You're in Tennessee and we're in California, and we're having this wonderful conversation, and then by the time we finish filming this and editing it, the world gets to see it. All two people that we know, and and then make the world a better place. And then eventually someone will pay attention because like somehow we went viral somehow because we did finally something cool, right?
Right.
And then they'll be like, remember when
Well, we probably need some funny video, some cat or something jumping
That's
around.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, we need a
Let me
cat
grab
video.
the cat and
Yeah,
just
go grab
throw
the
it.
cat, will you?
Throw it in the cat.
Where is she when I need her to climb across the desk?
She just didn't do it.
She's on the bed asleep, whatever. No, Trina, you are amazing. I hope you have a great time where you are, and I'm so appreciative that you're my accountability partner in global leadership program, and that you're my friend, and that whenever so now you know Renee. So when we come and visit you in Houston,
Yes.
and who knows, we
Yes.
might just find an excuse to be in Italy the same time you're in Italy with the kids, because like I've been wanting him to go to Italy forever. I want him to see the Vatican. All artists need to see the Raphaels,
Yes.
the Michelangelos. They
Yes.
all need to see that stuff. That should be a requirement for life if you're an artist. So let's go.
Yes.
No idea that we're inviting ourselves,
Yeah.
but hey,
Sounds like fun.
But you guys should come. That would be great.
that'd be fun. Okay, well, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, then we could do an episode of this in Italy. Wouldn't that be cool?
And my podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll go on your podcast. Okay.
This is perfect that my cup
Yes.
says dream big. It says dream big. So we're
Oh,
and it's a
Yeah.
giant
we're dreaming big.
my head. Yeah. Ready?
How much coffee do you drink?
Well, here's the funny thing. I don't really drink coffee. I'm a tea
She's
drinker.
a tea drinker.
I'm a tea drinker.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yay,
You do tea and hot chocolate.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hot cocoa. Love it. All right, my darling. Thank you so very, very much. And to all the people watching Marriage Plus Business, thank you for hanging out with the threesome of us. And I hope you all are having a beautiful day. And thank you. Love you. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye.